Ukraine has been pleading for arms to help stop Russian invasion. U.S. President says he won't send weapons that could strike deep in Russia and escalate situation. Washington, AP. The Biden administration announced on Tuesday that it will send Ukraine a small number of high-tech, medium-range rocket systems, a critical weapon that Ukrainian leaders have been begging for as they struggle to stall Russian progress in the Donbas region. The U.S. plan tries to strike a balance between the desire to help Ukraine battle ferocious Russian artillery barrages while not providing arms that could allow Ukraine to hit targets deep inside Russia and trigger an escalation. In a guest essay published Tuesday evening in the New York Times, Biden confirmed that he's decided to provide the Ukrainians with more advanced rocket systems and munitions that will enable them to more precisely strike key targets on the battlefield. Biden had said Monday that the U.S. would not send Ukraine rocket systems that can strike into Russia. Any weapon system can shoot into Russia if it's close enough to the border. The aid package expected to be unveiled Wednesday would send what the U.S. considers medium-range rockets. They generally can travel about 45 miles, 70 kilometers, said U.S. officials, who spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss details. The expectation is that Ukraine could use the rockets in the eastern Donbas region, where they could both intercept Russian artillery and take out Russian positions in towns where fighting is intense, such as Biden in his New York Times essay added, "We are not encouraging or enabling Ukraine to strike beyond its borders. We do not want to prolong the war just to inflict pain on Russia." U.S. officials familiar with the decision did not detail how much the aid will cost, but it will be the 11th package approved so far, and will be the first to tap the $40 billion in assistance recently passed by Congress. The rocket systems would be part of Pentagon Drawdown Authority, so would involve taking weapons from U.S. inventory and getting them into Ukraine. Ukrainian troops would also need training on the new systems, which could take at least. Officials said the plan is to send Ukraine the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, or HIMARS, which is mounted on a truck and can carry a container with 6. The system can launch a medium-range rocket, which is the current plan, but is also capable of firing a longer-range missile, the Army Tactical Missile System, which has a range of about 190 miles, 300 kilometers, and is not part of the plan. Since the war began in February, the U.S. and its allies have tried to walk a narrow line, send Ukraine weapons needed to fight off Russia, but stop short of providing aid that will inflame Russian President Vladimir Putin and trigger a broader conflict that could spill over into other parts of Europe. Over time, however, the U.S. and allies have amped up the weaponry going into Ukraine, as the fight has shifted from Russia's broader campaign to take the capital, Kyiv, and other areas, to more close-contact skirmishes for small pieces of land in the east. And to that end, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been pleading with the West to send multiple launch rocket systems to Ukraine as soon as possible to help stop Russia's destruction of towns. The rockets have a longer range than the howitzer artillery systems that the U.S. has provided Ukraine. They would allow Ukrainian forces to strike Russian troops from a distance outside the range of Russia's artillery. "We are fighting for Ukraine to be provided with all the weapons needed to change the nature of the fighting and start moving faster and more confidently toward the expulsion of the occupiers," Zelensky said in a recent. "Ukraine needs multiple launch rocket systems," said Philip Breedlove, a retired U.S. Air Force general who was NATO's top commander from 2013 to 2016. "These are very important capabilities that we have not gotten them yet. And they not only need them, but they have been very vociferous in explaining they want them," said. "We need to get serious about supplying this army so that it can do what the world is asking it to do. Fight a world superpower alone on the battlefield." U.S. and White House officials had no public comment on the specifics of the aid. "We continue to consider a range of systems that have the potential to be effective on the battlefield for our Ukrainian partners. But the point the president made is that we won't be sending long-range rockets for use beyond the battlefield in Ukraine," State Department Ned Price. "As the battle has shifted its dynamics, we have also shifted the type of security assistance that we are providing to them, in large part because they have asked us for the various systems that are going to be more effective in places like." Russia has been making incremental progress in the Donbas, as it tries to take the remaining sections of the region not already controlled by Russian-backed separatists. Putin has repeatedly warned the West against sending greater firepower to Ukraine. The Kremlin said Putin held an 80-minute telephone call Saturday with the leaders of France and Germany in which he warned against the continued transfers of Western weapons. Overall, the United States has committed approximately $4.6 billion in security assistance to Ukraine since the beginning of the Biden administration, including approximately $3.9 billion since Russia invaded on February 24.